What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys another review. Welcome back to the journey to Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 comes out in less than 2 weeks, June 15th. So freaking pumped, guys. Get excited for it. So now the next film we're going to be talking about in this series is Brave, which came out in 2012. It was directed by Brenda Chapman and Mark Andrews, the first Pixar film with two directors. Starring the voice talents Kelly MacDonald as the voice of Merida, Emma Thompson as Queen Eleanor, and Billy Connolly as the voice of King Fergus. My special guest today talking about Brave is Durbin from Durbania. Before I get started with my thoughts, Durbin will give you his thoughts first, then I'll jump in right after. So Durbin, take it away, sir.
Thanks, Ryan, for having me on your channel. I'm super excited to be a part of this road to Incredibles 2. I love The Incredibles. It's such an awesome movie, and I'm holding Incredibles 2 probably to an unrealistically high bar. But whatever, I cannot wait to see it. So Brave, I have seen this movie twice now. And I watched it a while back, and the last time I watched it was for this video to kind of refresh my mind on it. And both times, like the first time I watched this movie, I never saw it on the big screen. The first time I watched it, I rented it, and I just had no expectations for it. Could have cared less, but I was bored. So I ended up watching it, and it was good. It was way better than I was expecting. And then, what is it, probably about 2 years later, I just watched it again for this video, and I went in with, I don't know how much I even want to watch this one. Like, seriously, that was my attitude. But then, as soon as I rented it and I hit play again, it drew me back in. So I don't know what it is about this movie, like, where it's been a while since I've seen it, somehow my thoughts on this movie seem to darken, but then every time I watch this movie, it's like this pleasant surprise for me. So it's definitely not my favorite Pixar film, but every time I watch it, I enjoy it more than I think I'm going to enjoy it. And I think it's because, like all Pixar films, they just have so many fun characters. I mean, Fergus, sorry, I have my notes right there. I'm thinking of Ferguson the cat from New Girl. King Fergus, I really like him. He's a really great character. He's really fun. And this is an awesome Disney movie because you actually got both parents alive in this one. Woohoo! But then this is Disney Pixar, so I think it breaks that typical Disney rule. So both parents are allowed to be alive in this one. And so Eleanor is also a really great character. Now Merida, who's our main character, drives me nuts in the beginning of this movie. She just comes across as this spoiled little snot. And what's so weird about it is I'm conflicted about that because she is a spoiled snot in the beginning of this film, but man, I get her reasoning. It's got to be annoying to wake up every day and have her mother, Eleanor, constantly berating her about manners and how to live and how to do this, and then all of a sudden one day you're going to marry one of these three guys from the other three clans. Otherwise, the world that we live in is going to come to a horrible end. So this all rests on your shoulders. Please marry one of these weirdos. And so, like, I can understand Merida's fear, and I can understand her rebellion, and there's just this very snot-nosed brat quality to it, though. But it works, because it's part of her character arc, it's part of her growth. It's part of seeing, like, you have to have that balance. You have to have, this is legit where she's at, and you gotta see that also she's very immature. And then you gotta see her grow in her maturity, and we see this legit thing that's bad change to something that's better. So I think the movie does a really good job with that story arc and character arc with Merida. And Eleanor, I will say this though, in the beginning of the film, both times I watched it, Eleanor made me mad because as much as I thought the daughter Merida was a brat, Eleanor just felt like she was completely unseeing and completely unsympathetic and completely callous to Merida and what she was going through. But then as soon as Eleanor becomes a bear, I feel like the movie does a good job of shifting things. And somehow through this bear's perspective, we see where Eleanor has been coming from. And I thought that did a really good job with it because as much as I thought she was callous in the beginning, now I see she's not as callous as I thought. There's a little bit of that callousness there, but that's because all these clans hold these traditions so high, so to break them really would be the end of their world. So she does love her daughter, she does love her husband, she does want the best for her daughter, but she also doesn't want their world to end. So it's really interesting the way they balance that out. Now, that scene where Merida's giving that speech in front of the clans and the mom is the bear in the background and she's saying we're going to break with tradition and fall in love with those that we, from our heart. I don't know. I think in real life that would not have made those grown men cry. I think in real life they probably just would have killed Merida and then gone into an absolute civil war that would have ended their world. But hey, it's Disney Pixar. so we're not going to go there. So I can accept that we're not going to go there, and it was kind of an easy, convenient fix, but whatever. It works for the story because the real story is Eleanor and Merida and swallowing pride and fixing the bond between them. And in the end, that's what the bravery is about. It's about being brave and standing up for who you are and what you believe in. At the same time, being brave enough to be mature about that and being brave enough to swallow pride. Because Merida had to learn to see from Eleanor's perspective. Eleanor had to learn to see from Merida's perspective. Both of them had to learn to be mature about where they were, and both of them had to come to a better agreement having understood both sides of the equation. So it's interesting because Brave seems to have like all that complex stuff going on, but it breaks it down in a really simple way. It makes the characters really fun. And it's just a really fun movie, especially if you believe that Pixar theory where everything is all connected. You can find a lot of interesting connection points in the Pixar films there, but that's a whole nother video for another time. I'm going to give Pixar a solid B because I don't want to own it, and I'm not in a hurry to go out and see this movie again. However, every time I watch it, I am drawn in and I enjoy it. So I'm sure I'll watch it again someday, but I'm just not in the hugest of hurries to do it, but there it is. Solid B. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you so much, Durbin, for joining my channel once again to talk about Brave. If you guys don't know who Durbin is, his channel link is in the description below. He's an awesome YouTuber, Durbania. He does a lot of trailer reactions, movie reviews. He knows a lot about superheroes, loves comic book movies, Star Wars, whatever geeky things you can think of. Durbin knows his stuff. So go check him out because Durbin is awesome and he is great. This movie's about a character named Merida. She's a princess in Scotland. Her mother, Queen Eleanor, wants her to be a princess. The way that princesses are raised and should be. She doesn't want to be that. She wants to be a rebel. She wants to do other things like shoot bow and arrows, not be the normal princess. While her mother disagrees with her and tries to get a prince for her, she gets in a big argument with her mother, finds this witch, and she turns her mother into a bear, spoiler alert, and now she has to try to break this curse from her mother to turn her back into a human. Brave is one of those Pixar films that is not a classic. A lot of people don't like this movie. It came out in 2012 and it won Best Picture. It won Best Picture over films like Wreck-It Ralph. I remember watching this movie once and I completely forgot about it. And now rewatching this movie for this review, this movie is okay. It's fine. There are some good elements to it, but it's not a Pixar film that I can see myself rewatching constantly or being memorable. It's just going to be forgettable to me. Might I say the animation, while it does look gorgeous, it looks real. It looks photorealistic. There's some beautiful shots of mountaintops and forests and water and rain. There's some great imagery in here. I really like the way the animators made this film look completely different than any other Pixar film we've seen in years, and that's what I appreciate about Brave. It's something we haven't seen before from Pixar, taking new risks and telling new stories. I appreciate how original this film is, and that it doesn't really copy the Pixar formula, and being kind of different, which is one thing that's in my negative section, which I'll talk about. I just appreciate how new and fresh this story is. Kelly MacDonald as the voice of Merida, she was great. I love Merida as a character. She's really strong, badass. She believes in what she believes in. She wants to do things on her own, be independent, be an adult kind of. And she doesn't want to follow the princess formula. She wants to do things on her own. Emma Thompson as the voice of Queen Eleanor. She's a great character as well. One of my favorite characters in the movie was King Fergus, voiced by Bill Connolly. He was hilarious. Very funny dad. He's pretty dumb, but you just laugh out loud with some of the stuff he does in this movie. There's also some really cool concepts behind this movie that I think Pixar always nails, is the storytelling and making you feel connected to the story and the characters. That's something that Pixar does very well. Unfortunately here, Brave is not one of those films for me, which is why I don't think it's perfect. So let's talk about the negatives. I do have a problem with the story. It has to do with a twist that happens in the film. That's when the mother turns into the bear. It's pretty stupid at times. Like, the bear talks like how a bear would talk. and the audience is supposed to guess how the bear is talking with Merida. And it's used for comedic sake. It's something kids will enjoy and other people will enjoy. I felt like once the mother turned into the bear, it kind of went downhill for me at times. I felt like it forced humor a little bit too much for me, but it's okay. It's not that bad of a gripe. I wish some movies didn't force humor, like try hard to make people laugh. With this movie only being an hour and 33 minutes, it gets kind of boring to me at times. I was kind of bored at some points during this film, mainly the first half and the final act when the mother turns into the bear. Pacing happens all the time, so it's something not really to complain about. And I would say my final gripe with this movie would be the witch character. She's very important to the story, but she was only in 2 scenes in the movie. I wanted to see more of her because we need her to the end. I felt the ending was kind of rushed, and there's something in the film that just didn't happen. Brave is a solid, okay film from the Pixar universe that does something different, which I appreciate. Doesn't feel at all like a Pixar movie to me. It feels like a DreamWorks movie. Kind of like How to Train Your Dragon with the Scottish stuff. But the movie is just not one of the best Pixar films. This is easily forgettable for me, but it's still solid. I think you'll enjoy this one. On my rating scale, I'm going to give Brave a 3 out of 5 stars. In my opinion, this is the black sheep for Pixar. So there you have it, guys. That was my thoughts and review on Brave. Now, of course, what do you guys think of Brave? Did you love it, think it was okay, or did you absolutely hate it? Let me know down below in the comments. Once again, huge thank you to Durbin for joining me to talk about Brave. It was a lot of fun, man, a blast. The next film we're talking about is Monsters University. And joining me for Monsters University is Cody Curtis. Look forward to that review up next. Thank you guys as always for watching this review, and if you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe today for more content. All my social media links are in the description down below. Click that notification bell on your way out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!